Hola, mi nombre es Víctor. Quiero agradecerle a Carlton primero por venir a este alejado y alocado lugar del mundo a promocionar la serie. Mi pregunta es para los dos, obviamente tiene como diferentes visiones. Es sobre el cast. Dijo que habían, después de que pasó de Hulu a Netflix, hicieron un recast. Si Carlton principalmente tenía pensado siempre en algún personaje en específico, algún actor en especial, y si habían trabajado con, ya habían tenido conversaciones con un actor de renombre, de primera línea, que seguramente quizás se haya bajado. Y Gabriel, cuando supo que se iba a hacer la serie, si, ¿se le pasó por la cabeza algún actor en específico que él había visto para algún personaje del cómic?
He thanks you for being in such a far and wild place promoting this, and he then has questions about casting. He mentions the thing you said about changing the casting except for one actor, and he wants to know if you had names and what was the process, and if Gabriel had specific actors in mind for the adaptation.
Yeah, we kept Jackson Scott, who plays Bodhi. He had come to us for the Hulu version, that pilot. By the way, as Gabriel said, it's probably unprecedented that 3 pilots have been made for one show ever in the history of TV. But in the Hulu version, it was directed by Andy Muschietti, who is Argentinian and is the director of It and It Chapter 2. And he had cast Jackson as Georgie in It, the kid in the yellow rain slicker with the red balloon, and he was so good. He was Bodhi. In the script, he's described as being a Pop-Tart in human form, and Jackson Scott was that. He just embodied that. So he was so perfectly Bodhi that we kept him. Then it just felt like as we evolved the scripts and made them, as Meredith and I wrote different scripts for Netflix, the characters changed and the actors that we had in the Hulu show didn't really make sense. So we started seeing new actors. And the other thing that was great about Netflix is that they were willing to let us cast the best actors, not cast stars, names. I think that television at its best has always been about creating stars. And I think that this show will create some television stars in the same way that Stranger Things has created television stars. And I think the casting is excellent. Amelia Jones, who's this British girl who plays Kinsey, is phenomenal, and I think will be on everyone's radar screens. Tyler, Connor Jessup is wonderful, soulful. He's the one that's a little bit he's different than the comic. The Tyler in the comic is a little more brutish and kind of a big tough guy, and Connor is not that, but he brings an incredible quality to it. So I think in that case we just loved him as an actor, so we moved the character a little bit to fit who he was as an actor. And then for Nina, the main goal was to find someone who was really sympathetic, who you loved just when you first saw her. She's not at the center of the story in terms of page count or the amount of screen time, but you need to immediately love this woman and really understand and feel for her as a mother who's lost her husband, who's trying to raise these 3 children, and you have to care about her. And so that was a long process, and we finally found Darby Stanchfield, who was on a big ABC show called Scandal for many years, and just had this natural, innate likability and sympathy. So, we spent a lot of time on the casting process, and I think to good result.
I think the first time that I saw the entire cast for the Netflix version of Locke Key was a picture that Darby posted from the script reading, in which they took a photograph of the entire Locke family all together. And I just saw the picture and I immediately realized that the show was going to work, because you could feel like the family chemistry playing between them. And that was like the thing we were aiming at, to make this family to be believable from the get-go. And as you said, I think it was all about finding the perfect ensemble cast and not chasing names. It's really weird that when I did comic books before Locke Key, every time that I faced a new project, at the moment of designing the characters, I used like actor references. I read the script and think, who could play this guy? Okay, it should be this guy, and I made like a variation of the actor and portray the character. But for Locke Key, it was different. It was the very first time in which when I get the description of the characters, they like sort of immediately popped out in my mind in the way I want to display them, and I did no research for that. And every single character came out as they needed to be. And I think in a way the casting process of Locke Key was the same, which to find the actor that give the proper voice to each one of the characters and they get along really well with the others. And I think they nailed it in a way that was beyond our wildest best wishes.
I mean, the thing you cannot control for as a producer is alchemy. So you hire a bunch of people and then you don't know whether they're going to get along. And I've worked on shows where they appear to get along on screen, but don't get along off screen. These actors love each other. They hang out with each other. They have dinners together. They're kind of like a family in Toronto. And so I think the deep connection that they have with each other and their close friendships, they've really become a family off screen as well. And so I think that carries forward and you feel that.
It's great to hear that because they're going to have such a miserable time in the story that it's great that they get along and have a nice time outside the screen.